Chapter 201. Spirit Grade Lightning, Chinjun. Not long after, Zhao Manyan came out of the appraisal hall. Normally, once the auction list had been made, it couldn't be altered. However, the bidding for a warrior-level soul essence was even more ferocious than for a spirit seed. Didn't all those who were here to participate wish to see this kind of thing appear? The organizing party instantly put the warrior-level soul essence onto the auction list. I let the old master appraise it, Zhao Manyan said, an admiring look on his face. He said that this kind of parasitic soul essence is very special, and the more special the soul essence is, the more successful the manufacturing of a nebula tool will be, and the higher the quality. Thus, the Scale Skin Phantom Mother's soul essence that you are auctioning will be worth 10 to 20 million. If it generates a fight between large forces, then it wouldn't be a problem for it to reach even 25 million. This guy's saliva nearly started dripping. He really wished that he had personally killed the mother beast. However, Zhao Manyan also knew that he was a person without a soul container. Even if he had personally killed the mother beast, he would still have no way to retrieve its soul essence. Also, the appraisal master said the warrior-level soul essence has been stored very delicately. This can only be done by either an outstanding undead magician or by an incredible high-level soul container. Right, how did you get such a high-level soul container? These kinds of things are rarely seen, Zhao Manyan began to chatter endlessly. Inheritance. My family is poor, but we did inherit this thing. Mo Fan didn't explain too much. He just answered vaguely. You not being an undead magician is just too much of a waste, Zhao Manyan sighed, and didn't continue pursuing the subject. However, Zhao Manyan did realize a really big problem. He had always been the young master of an aristocratic family, yet right now, he was just a simple nothing compared to Mo Fan, who had suddenly gained riches. Just when he was about to enter the auction hall, Mo Fan wanted to take a look at the sumptuous mansions around there. Unfortunately, his line of sight was quickly occupied by an ugly face. This face looked like Mo Fan owed him 5 million RMB. Just a single glance made him feel uncomfortable. It's you. HMPH. The ugly face coldly grunted. Who are you? Mo Fan asked. The ugly face immediately seethed with anger. This daddy is Bai Zhangfeng. Do you understand? Bai Zhangfeng, the young master of one of the 4 great aristocrat families of Shanghai. I am Bai Zhangfeng. Bai Zhangfeng's complexion turned increasingly ugly. During the rookie competition, Bai Zhangfeng wanted to hold an attitude like the Terminator, intending to tyrannically abuse Mo Fan and get rid of him, thus becoming the focal point of the entire school. Who knew that the second he was up against him, he'd be hit by a life-threatening thunderbolt? This placed Bai Zhangfeng in an exceedingly difficult situation and even forced instructor Ji Yu Han to chase him down. That day, Bai Zhangfeng had truly lost all his face. Furthermore, that scheming whore, Mu Nujiao from the Mu family. Losing is losing, yet she actually obtained the support of so many people by donating resources to cover their losses. In the past couple of months, Bai Zhangfeng had already been scolded by his seniors a lot. There'd occasionally be someone saying, "Look at the Mu family, their daughter's ideas are extensive. Yet you, Bai Zhangfeng, are a man who is the same as trash." The words Bai Zhangfeng's elders used on him had many different versions. The second he got home, he would be scolded. They decreased his living expenses dramatically and made him lock himself in to cultivate every single day. All of this was caused by Mo Fan. However, this guy who caused him to live like Sun Tzu for the past few months didn't even remember who he was. Let me tell you, if it wasn't for you playing a trick back then, I'd be able to kill you with just the pinch of my fingers. Just wait until the day I enter the main campus. If I don't beat you up, then my name is no longer Bai Zhangfeng. Bai Zhangfeng was enraged by Mo Fan, pointing toward Mo Fan's nose as he snarled this out. This grudge was something Bai Zhangfeng would never let go. This semester, he was completely nameless due to what had happened at the beginning of the term. However, he would turn the tables around before too long. Whether it was Mu Nujiao, Zhao Manyan, Shen Tianxiao, Luo Song, or even this Mo Fan who had caused him great pain, each one would be stepped on by him. He, Bai Zhangfeng, had entered the school with the attitude of the strongest person within his generation of the Bai family. Not only would he be superior to those common students, he would even be stronger than those disciples from other aristocratic families. Bai Zhangfeng's words had filled the inside of the auction hall. Mo Fan looked after the guy while feeling puzzled. After he waited for Bai Zhangfeng to walk a little further away, Mo Fan finally turned around and asked Zhao Manyan, "Just who is this Bai Zhangfeng?" "It's the guy who was put down by your thunderbolt during the beast battle competition. He is an intermediate magician, but he got beat by you in just a second," Zhao Manyan explained as he couldn't stop laughing. "Oh, it's him. I finished him off way too quickly back then. I didn't get a good look at his face," Mo Fan said. The Bai Zhangfeng who was walking up the stairs also heard this. His body began to stumble. He nearly fell down. "Sheet! He is bullying me. Just you wait, just you freaking wait. The battles within Azure Campus are simply little fights between children. Just wait until the main campus. Hee. It'll be hard to say who the champion will be then." Zhao Manyan was indeed very sincere. Not too long after the auction started, the spirit grade lightning seed came out. The people from the Zhao family did not say much. They had this attitude of, whatever the opponent would bid for this spirit grade lightning seed, the Zhao family would always up them. The spirit grade lightning seed went up over 2.8 million RMB, but it was still purchased by the Zhao family. Using a baseless reputation to exchange for a 2.8 million RMB valued spirit grade lightning seed was definitely worth it in Mo Fan's eyes. As for what the Zhao family were able to obtain from resolving the dangers this time was not something Mo Fan was able to calculate. Even the losses by this great aristocrat family were not something they could temporarily calculate. 2.8 million RMB, it has been successfully auctioned off to this Mr. I already introduced the spirit grade lightning seed at the beginning of the auction, however, I can't help but do it once more. This lightning seed was extracted from a heavenly mountain where the thunderclouds merge with the summit of the mountain at all times. It is called the Qinjun. When you release lightning magic, the Qinjun will generate a great destructive power through the surrounding air. The vibration caused will be even more effective than your normal lightning. We all know that common seeds are mediocre, spirit seeds are intellectual. Therefore, I hope that the spirit-grade Qinjun that was extracted from the faraway heavenly mountain and brought here will be able to find a good master. I apologize that I am a bit talkative today. This is because the person who extracted the Qinjun was a good friend of mine. He died during the extraction of Qinjun. It was a friend who went through life and death to finally bring it back to the city. The auctioneer seemed to be deeply moved as he said this to all the participants of the auction. The middle-aged man who won the bidding battle from the Zhao family seemed to be very courteous. He smiled as he said toward the affectionate auctioneer, "Mr. Wang, don't worry. The Qinjun will be given to an extremely outstanding youth. Youth, I like youths. They dare to charge and battle, not like us old people. We cannot go anywhere. Youths are good. They are suitable for the Qinjun." The auctioneer had a good temperament. He immediately began to smile. That Mr. Wang didn't seem to be your average person. There was no one who dared to gossip about him. Qinjun, Mo Fan really liked that name. Spirit-grade lightning seeds, they all possessed intellects. They had the temperament and personality of a living creature, so they also received their own name. Qinjun, that was a name of power. The lightning element was the magic that encompassed the greatest power within all of the classical elements. The name Qinjun was extremely suitable. In the future, all of the lightning and fire magics would possess their own prefixes. His lightning would be called Qinjun. Chapter 202 I'm Rich. There were a lot of things Mo Fan had never heard of in his life at this auction. Zhao Manyan explained some of them to Mo Fan. Many of these items were things Mo Fan was very interested in, for example, some of the magic tools with supplementary effects. Magic equipment and magic tools had definite differences. Magic equipment was only able to link itself to the soul. Once activated, it could transform into a special piece of battle equipment. Magic tools were mostly just supplementary, things that granted nourishing effects, things that could not be activated. For example, one of the items sold in the auction was called the Poison Fire Ring. This kind of ring was a magic tool. It added a certain poisonous effect to all of the caster's fire magic. Unfortunately, this kind of ring cost far more than a spirit-grade fire seed, and Mo Fan was unable to purchase it. The next item is something even more people will be interested in. It is a blue velvet sparrow's egg. After going through appraisal, it is confirmed that this egg has a 100% chance of hatching. Summoner magicians, you may bid your price. Oh, I almost forgot. This blue velvet sparrow possesses the Penglai Skylark bloodline. As long as you raise it to adulthood, its strength will be no weaker than that of a full-grown warrior-level magical beast. The blue velvet sparrow is enough to take one flying, and an incomparable mount for flight. Its lowest price is 70 million RMB, so everyone can start bidding now. The auctioneer's face looked focused as he said this. As soon as the blue velvet sparrow's egg came out, a disturbance went through the auction hall. Although the price started at 70 million, the bidding people were everywhere. Mo Fan was almost scared by these rich people. In his previous world, 100 million RMB was a unit that people wouldn't even dare to think about. However, the blue velvet sparrow's egg was selling for 70 million plus, and that was the lowest price. You're also a summoner. Don't you have any plans to get yourself a young one to nurture? Zhao Manyan asked Mo Fan, who was sitting next to him. Do you think I look like a person who would be able to afford that? Mo Fan smiled bitterly. There were only two types of magicians that could manage beasts. One of them was telepathic magicians, and the other was summoning magicians. The intermediate magic for the summoning element was contract summoning. Contract summoning and dimensional summoning had two very large differences. Dimensional summoning summons a wandering beast and puts a soul imprint in them so they can fight for you. This kind of creature had a limited time it could stay around. Furthermore, you never knew when they would die within the summon plane, or might not want to participate in a battle. Contract summoning was the true core spell of the summoning magicians. The summoner would be able to go out into the wild to find a magical beast to form a contract with. Once the contract was done, the magical beast would be the contracted beast of the magician, and 100% loyal, attending to its master at all times. Frankly speaking, dimensional summoning was a temporary job. While the magical beast was out, it would continuously use mana. The longer it battled in the real world, the more mana it would use. A contract summoning was the one true being. He would be signing a contract with an existence that already existed in this world. Once the contract was successful, the magical beast could be considered tamed and become a lifelong companion. Wasting your resources on your dimensional creature is really useless. The dimensional creature is not a long-term companion. However, the contracted beast is something you can spend as much resources as you want on, and it will also reciprocate that to you. I suggest that if you obtain some kind of resource for refining a beast, you'd better leave it for your own contract beast, Zhao Manyan advised him. 70 million is not something I can afford. Bro, why would you want to buy a blue velvet sparrow? Magical beasts that can fly have always been extremely expensive, Zhao Manyan said. Alright, the summoning stardust advancing to nebula level would require just a bit more time. Although having one more summoned beast would be able to increase his combat prowess by several times, seeing the price of the blue velvet sparrow made Mo Fan feel like getting hold of a young beast would take him who knew how many years. These things were expensive. As of right now, Mo Fan was at the intermediate level, and all these things were only useful for intermediate magicians. However, once he reached advanced level magician, just what kind of price would these things go up to? Casually become a few 100 million? No wonder they said if you didn't have money, don't become a magician. It was so true. The next item being sold is one that cut the lines. Don't be anxious, everyone, this line-cutting item will definitely be something you will need. The auctioneer waved his hand to indicate for the girl to bring the new treasure up to the stage to auction. Look at this container. I believe everyone should already know what we're auctioning off this time? The auctioneer gave a slight smile. Soul essence. What level of soul essence? If it is the servant level, then it'd be too unsuitable for this place. The auctioneer purposely sold a small climax. He waited until everyone began talking before continuing. This is a warrior-level soul essence. This came from a parasitic-type magical beast. Everyone most likely knows that the more special the soul essence is, the higher the probability for them to become a nebula magical tool. Just like a stardust magic tool, the nebula magic tool is an item that is long in demand, but short in supply. The most important material, the soul essence, is most likely something that everyone will love. We will begin the auction of the parasitic-type warrior-level soul essence. The starting price will be 12 million. From the starting price, one could see that there was no need to worry about this item not being auctioned off. Even something like a blue velvet sparrow egg could be sold for a lot of money. Furthermore, since it is for the summoner, the bid battles weren't too fierce, as the people needing it were quite limited. However, Soul essence could be directly linked with a stardust magic tool or a nebula magic tool. Just which magician would not require stardust magic tools or nebula magic tools? A warrior-level soul essence was not as expensive as a blue velvet sparrow egg. However, the bidding contest was still just as fierce. The second they heard that this was an extremely rare parasitic-type soul essence, the bid price began to increase. Soul essence is one of the best sellers. In the future, if you acquire more soul essences, you can contact the appraisal master from today on. They're from our Zhao family. He definitely won't swindle you, Zhao Manyan told Mo Fan. Mo Fan was shocked. This warrior-level soul essence was worth at least 10 million. However, Mo Fan quickly realized the people in the audience had given different kinds of bids. This thing was indeed very lacking, no wonder why it could directly cut into the line. Fortunately, the little loach pendant was able to collect soul remnants and soul essences. What if I just earn money by selling soul essences in the future? Speaking of which, Mo Fan's little loach pendant seemed to have some special abilities that he himself was not sure about. Otherwise, how could others kill numerous magical beasts yet be unable to collect a single soul essence, while he had already acquired 2 of them? When he had the opportunity, he needed to do research on this little loach pendant. At the end, the soul essence of Mother Beast was sold for 29 million RMB. The real value of a special soul essence was roughly around 20 million. After its price had risen by nearly 10 million, he could clearly see that the supply did not reach the demand for it. He's rich. He became rich in an instant. Chapter 203 The 28 million RMB Man. In just an instant, he earned a profit of 28 million RMB. Mo Fan felt an unprecedented happiness. He had never seen this much money in his entire life. The person buying it was actually the Bai family, ha ha ha. Zhao Manyan looked at the person who last made a bid and couldn't help but laugh. The person from the Bai family seemed to have already gotten the thing they'd wanted. They weren't interested in the last item that was being auctioned, so they rose together and left the auction hall. When Bai Zhangfeng and his fellow clansmen had walked outside the auction chamber, he had swept a glance at Mo Fan and said, "A lot of the things here are things that you will never get in your entire lifetime. Do you think you're impressive with that little power? Just wait until I have a nebula magic tool. My cultivation will easily surpass yours. Yes, yes, yes. When the time comes, please be lenient," Mo Fan said while purposely acting as though he was afraid. Bai Zhangfeng strutted away with an unbelievably arrogant way, while the Zhao Manyan next to Mo Fan began to laugh like crazy. Only Zhao Manyan knew that the Bai family had directly put 29 million RMB into Mo Fan's pocket. Mo Fan even dared to sell a soul essence. This only meant that he most likely had even better things. Otherwise, who would actually want to sell something that could increase their own cultivation? This Bai Zhangfeng guy, he thinks his own family is so solid. Just wait until we enter the main campus and watch just who will surpass who. In Mo Fan's hand was indeed an even better cultivation tool. The little loach pendant had actually drank the underground holy spring. Not even a warrior-level soul essence was capable of improving it. After Bai Zhangfeng left, Mo Fan continued to wait for a while to see if there was a magic equipment that was suitable for him. As he hoped, not too long afterwards, a magic shield appeared. A good set of magic armor had an incomparably high price. Thus, Mo Fan would rather have a good magic shield, so when he was in a crucial situation, he would be able to block a mortal wound. A departing nether shield appeared in the auction hall. Not only was it able to block an all-out attack from a warrior-level creature, the surface of the shield was able to turn into spikes and deal deadly piercing damage. Mo Fan bought this departing nether shield. The people who bid for it weren't many, but it was purchased by Mo Fan for 17 million in the end. The departing nether shield's price was even higher than the Blood Beast boots. After all, its defensive capabilities and its ability to counterattack were much stronger than that of the Blood Beast boots. Naturally, Mo Fan also asked about it. His own Blood Beast boots could be sold for around 12 million. The things that Pearl Institute gave out were definitely not some cheap goods. "Do you want to buy any Deathstrike magic equipment?" Zhao Manyan asked him. Deathstrike magic equipment was something that all magicians loved, everyone from primary to intermediate. In situations where attack methods are limited, Deathstrike magic equipment would be the most important factor for many magicians. "Are there any good Deathstrike equipments for 10 million? Mo Fan asked. Let's use a warrior-level creature as an example. If you truly want to cause mortal damage to a warrior-level creature, then the death strike equipment will always be at least 20 million or more, and those that come with additional effects are naturally even more expensive. Then I can't afford it. I'll leave some money to raise my little beast, Mofan said. Tisk, that makes sense. If you have money, you do need to raise some canaries. I'll introduce you to some good Happy girls. What I meant was my summoned beast. Mofan really admired how perverted Zhao Manyan was. Oh, I was thinking about something else. However, you can still introduce the Happy girls you mentioned. Zhao Manyan couldn't keep up with the way Mofan was thinking. Selling soul essence, buying magic equipment, he had about 12 million RMB remaining. Adding on to the 3.1 million that he originally had, Mofan happily realized that he still had 15.1 million remaining after purchasing the magic shield. With this money, he needed to move out from that godforsaken area. Mofan had to endure that area for far too damn long. The damn safety area that required you to take a bus and transfer to a subway to get to the city area was even more remote than Bo City. How could it possibly be suitable for a man like him, who is now worth over 10 million RMB? In the next semester, Zhao Manyan also said that he wanted to move out. In this kind of situation, Mofan also didn't want to be bored and stay in the dorm. He could change to an even more independent area for cultivating, so he wouldn't risk exposing himself. The secrets he had were not small. If someone was to see them, it could get pretty bad. After returning to the school, the end of the semester quickly approached. This semester did not have any examinations. Only in the next semester would there be an official examination for entering the main campus. This semester could be called the growing phase. If the students were cultivating somewhere else, that was fine. If they wanted to take classes, that was also fine. It would be fine even if they didn't touch the gates of the school for the entire semester. The only examination would be the examination for entering the main campus. To most magicians, the Azure campus and main campus were very different. The real Pearl Institute was the main campus. The resources there were abundant, while the competition was equally frightening. If you were able to distinguish yourself there, then you would be known throughout Shanghai, or even an influential figure for the whole country. Entering the main campus was definitely the most important thing for all students. Mofan could clearly see that the reason why Zhao Manyan wanted to move out was not because he wanted to bring girls home to have sex with, but to put more effort into cultivating. After the matter of the arena, he had received a lot of resources from his family. He had no reason to continue loitering about. As for Mofan, not only was he confidently planning on entering the main campus, the most important thing was the hunter competition that was happening in less than 2 years. The lightning and fire nebulae couldn't stay at just the first level. He had to quickly level them to the second. Mofan couldn't forget about the domineering fiery fist, 9 palace spell that Ms. Tongyue had used. That was the 3rd level of fiery fist, and adding on the spirit grade fire seed, its might could definitely destroy any opponent. The lightning element was the same, it had to increase as well. If it stayed at that level, that was definitely not a good thing. Even the shadow element was the same, he had to learn how to draw its star atlas. The star atlas books were limited. His summoning element hadn't reached the intermediate level either, he had to put efforts into cultivating that as well. There were so many things to level up on. Mofan felt that there was no time left for him to use. Another thing was, Mofan had actually already caught a whiff of the gunpowder attitude that pervaded the entire school. It was said that the main campus examination was a straight magic war. Since Mofan had essentially offended all of the people in school, when that day came, if he didn't have the ability to pressure others, he would be stepped on like a dog by those people in just minutes. The people who hated him were definitely not limited to just Bai Zhangfeng. Someone said that they had even created an anti-Mofan society. That society was specifically created to attack the public enemy of the schools, Mofan. The strength that Mofan had displayed back then did indeed appear monstrous to a lot of the primary level students. This society's strength had already grown greatly. They were only waiting to crusade against the monster and uphold justice. Mofan had never once regretted stealing other people's resources. If he hadn't stolen them away back then, how would he be able to fight against the Mother Beast? If he didn't kill the Mother Beast, then where would he have earned enough to gain the Spirit Grade Lightning Seed and the departing Nether Shield? This was called the strong becomes even stronger effect. Those dregs. They really thought they would be able to contend against him if they bitterly cultivated for a year. When the time came, they would learn that Daddy Mo would still be their daddy. Chapter 204 Co-renting. Once the semester ended, Mo Fan began looking for a new place to live. He was able to afford it. Spending some money to find a good apartment to live in was not a problem. In fact, Mo Fan was already interested in the Golden Origin apartments to the west of Azure campus. These apartments were relatively close to the school. Behind them was an artificial lake park. Although the lake wasn't big, its grounds were beautiful. Mo Fan walked up to the 12th floor of the building and knocked on the door of the apartment he wanted to rent. "You're here. Are you the guy who called me just now?" The landlord auntie appeared to be very enthusiastic and friendly as she said this. "Yes, I saw that you were renting out this place on the internet," Mo Fan said. The landlord auntie sized Mo Fan up and said, "Oh, come in first." Mo Fan nodded. Just as he was about to enter the room, two girls came out of the elevator. One of the girls was wearing a long, snow-white summer dress. On the front of it was an image of a landscape. She was like a cloud as she floated over. It seemed like she was looking at the numbers of the rooms. The girl next to her appeared to be very petite. What really shocked him was that her petite body possessed a gigantic moon that could be seen very clearly with the glance of an eye. The girl was already wearing very loose clothes, but it was not enough to conceal this radiance of spring. "Excuse me. Oh, it's you." Just when the girl was about to ask the auntie a question, she happened to see Mo Fan by the entrance. Her face revealed an astonished expression. Hee, how coincidental. Mo Fan was also shocked he would actually meet an acquaintance here. This girl who was wearing a white dress with a painting in the front was not some random person. She just so happened to be the Mu Nujiao who had displayed a ferocious strength during the rookie competition at the very beginning of the year. In this campus filled with youthful hormones, Mo Fan believed that the greatest topic of all of the boys at night was definitely this girl. When they mentioned girls, they would inevitably mention the beautiful and moral girl of their dreams, Mu Nujiao. The societies that Mu Nujiao joined would always be completely packed. The community events that Mu Nujiao participated in would definitely have people watching in the surroundings. There was nothing they could do. Mu Nujiao's public image was indeed extremely good. If it wasn't for Zhao Manyan, who saw through it at first glance, then Mo Fan would have almost believed it. "Are you also here to take a look at the room?" Mo Fan said. Mu Nujiao nodded without saying anything. "You guys know each other." "Ah, you are really familiar." "Oh, you are that great monster," the petite girl with large breasts yelled out, flustered. Mo Fan was speechless. Rumors of him being a great monster had really been spread around. Being able to scare a girl like that. Ah, this girl didn't look like she's scared. How come she appears to be in high spirits? Encountering Mu Nujiao here was not something Mo Fan thought was strange. The school had a regulation where the new students had to live on campus for a year. This regulation was actually strictly enforced for the first half of the semester. During the next semester, the students who had some ability would definitely choose to live somewhere close to school. Those who cultivated required a place of their own. This Golden Origin apartment block was relatively expensive. Most of the students were using their money to cultivate, so how could there be a surplus of people wanting to live in this kind of luxurious apartment block? Unless you were a wealthy person like Mu Nujiao. The apartment block was very big. The decorations were exquisite. The entire place appeared to have a compound architecture. The first floor had a living area with a rug covering it. The entrance hall led straight to a balcony that was as big as a placement house. The balcony had a parasol, recliners, a pond, and bookshelves. The living area was completely decorated. It appeared to be moon-shaped. An extremely large television was on the wall with half-bed-style couches. On the opposite side was a Western-style kitchen and a small bar. From Mo Fan's poor man's child's perspective, a living room should have a couch and a television. Anything else wasn't necessary. For a place like this that had a little bar and a Western-style kitchen, this indeed broke his experience with houses. Although Mo Fan had not seen the room yet, the luxury of this building made him sigh deeply in sorrow. It made sense as to why it was so expensive. Fortunately, the current him could be considered wealthy. "The rooms are all upstairs. Do you want to take a look?" the auntie asked. "I don't need to see it anymore, I'll take it." Mo Fan didn't feel like looking. Even the living room had been decorated like this. What's the point of taking a look at the second floor? The rooms were definitely not much different. What about the two ladies then? The landlord auntie glanced at Mu Nujiao and asked. I really like it. Sister Mu, let's pick this. The petite, energetic girl seemed to really like this place. The truth was, she and Mu Nujiao had already seen quite a lot of different places. Most of them did not satisfy their demands. The most important thing was both of them were born to rich and wealthy families. What may have been delicately renovated could only be seen as crude and simple in their eyes, no different than living in the dorms. However, this place, they could tell that someone had spent a lot of money to renovate it properly with just a glance. There was a bit of an art to it. It wasn't much different from those places they would stay in when they went out to have fun. Since you are all very content with this place, then why don't you co-rent? To be honest, the rent for my place here is indeed very expensive. There are not many people who would rent it on their own. A couple thousand RMB per month is not a laughing matter, the landlord auntie said. Mu Nujiao creased her brow. She didn't like the idea of co-renting. No matter how expensive it was, she wouldn't mind at all. All right, I haven't co-rented before. I've read a lot of novels where people co-rent in university. It seems interesting. The petite girl had a very one-track mind as she replied delightedly. The landlord auntie smiled as she hurriedly continued the introduction. This place has a total of 4 rooms. 2 rooms are in the south, and 2 are in the north side. It just happens to be separated. Since you already know one another, then co-renting would be very suitable, the landlord auntie said. Little rabbit, don't spout nonsense. Landlord auntie, we aren't actually that familiar with him, Mu Nujiao said firmly. Sister Mu, don't worry. The rooms are all on their own, and it's even separated by a whole section. Other than the first floor being a common area, the other ones cannot be common areas. My grandfather is really mean. He said he'd restrict my spending once I enter university. If we don't share the cost, it would be very expensive. With one more person sharing the cost, that'd be great. If not, we could even have him pay half, the white rabbit girl said. Hey, I never said I'd be paying half. Mo Fan immediately jumped up. Co-renting sounded pretty good. Mo Fan would definitely not reject that. However, the questions about the money, they had to clear that up first. You two are wealthy people, don't cheat the poor one. Other people would even offer to pay the rent for the whole place if they could co-rent with Sister Mu. We are only letting you pay for half so you can enjoy co-renting with 2 beauties. This kind of treatment would make you smile even in your dreams. Alright, let's just do that. I want to stay in the room by the lake. I'll have my people bring my things over, the white rabbit girl said excitedly. Your people. Once Mo Fan heard this, he started to feel not so good.